Hi, my name is Marissa Lamagna, and in 2008, I started Bay Area Green Tours. During the last 12 years, I've had the privilege of learning from so many change makers, thought leaders, and what I like to call solutionaries all around the Bay Area. As a result of the pandemic, we had to stop doing tours. In some ways, it's a silver lining because now we're able to connect to some of the people that we've learned from and share them outside of our backyard with people from all over the world. Bay Area Green Tours is a small grassroots organization. After the pandemic, people came to help us pivot and reinvent ourselves. I'd like to begin to compensate them as we continue to look for new ways to sustain our work. We appreciate it if you could make a donation, share our programming, and come back for the next time for Solutionaries Speak. In 2019, I did a permaculture training with Vital Cycles with Lydia Nielsen and Anne Frywald. I learned so much from her. She is our moderator for Solutionaries Speak. I'll turn it over to Anne now. And thank you for joining. Please share this video and stay tuned for our new programming.
Wonderful. Well, welcome everyone to our third Solutionary Speak talk of 2021. We're so happy to have you all here, and we're absolutely thrilled to be welcoming Javier Zamora as our solutionary for today. Javier is an amazing human being here in the Central Coast, growing what I think no one would argue are the absolute best tasting varieties of strawberries and the most beautiful flowers. And has a lot to share about his own journey, what's going on in Royal Oaks, where he's based, and how he's taking on plastic packaging and just bringing, really from his farm directly into the stores around our community here. We're so blessed to have him so close by. Before we get started in our conversation, we're going to show a brief video that was made with Javier and Elena Velez, who we all got to go down and be together on his amazing farm and actually pick and eat the strawberries right off the vine, take home some beautiful strawberries. Javier is incredibly generous. I know my daughters and I gobbled up those strawberries as soon as I got home. So let's start with that video to give you all a taste, so to speak, of what Javier is up to and where we're all at.
Yeah. So, do you want us to follow you?
Sí, para que encontrar unas fresas y coman.
Okay, let's eat some strawberries. Hola a todos, soy Elena Vélez, estoy aquí de parte de Bay Area Green Tours, invitados por Javier Zamora en su granja JSM Organics.
My name is Javier Zamora and I started JSM Organics, this farm, in 2012. I came here from Mexico when I was 20 years old. I was probably 9 years and I was harvesting strawberries in Michoacán. And it's that necessity of survival, it's what makes you kind of like a unique individual where you just go and get things done. In my industry, if I see a kid from college or a kid from the community that is interested in farming, I'm gonna do my very best to mentor that kid because I went through very difficult times to make this happen. We are in a small little town called Royal Oaks, an area between Watsonville and Salinas. We have 24 acres of strawberries planted this year. We have different varieties. Strawberry season is just beginning right now.
What's your model, the model that you are driving here?
Organically, we definitely don't fumigate, nor do we want to do that anyway. We use different methods, and the number one method is keep rotating our land with different crops. Strawberry growers, commercially, we use a lot of plastic mulch. The main reason is so the strawberries don't touch the soil, because you guys don't like the strawberries with soil, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
It's okay. When you remove the plastic, a lots of pieces and particles stay in the soil, and then it'll take many, many, many years to decompose itself. We're trying a biodegradable plastic. If anything stays behind, it will decompose within the year. We know what's going on. We know that people don't want plastic anymore. So when a company like Sombrilo presented an opportunity to me to have a no plastic clamshell, I'm like, of course. My advice is when you go to the grocery store and you see my strawberries and you see somebody else's strawberries, a big company, you immediately have to think of who is this guy and do some research. And you'll see who's growing those strawberries and a story behind versus a big corporation, and support those small family farms because they actually do have a big impact in our communities. Mis empleados, la manera que yo los veo es como una persona, como te estoy viendo a ti, no necesariamente como un número. Y la otra cosa es que se les pague bien. I think something that has made me the way that I am and has taken me where I am is that I really enjoy what I do. And I want others to follow maybe some of the same guidelines, but I truly enjoy walking you up and eating some strawberries. And the feeling that I get when I eat strawberries, I want somebody else to have the same feeling. It's such a pleasure to share some of the stuff that we do. And this is an open farm for you guys to come and visit us and trying to make a little bit of a difference in the community. I think it's we're really blessed that we can make a little bit of a change.
Okay, well, welcome everyone back. Clearly such a beautiful space, Javier, where you're located. So we're going to start our conversation. And there was so much brought up in the video, and we want to bring up even more. And do you have any thoughts after watching that video? Is there anything that comes to your mind that you want to add on to or share with?
Welcome, and thank you so much for doing this, guys. I think it goes just down the alley. I'm an individual who really likes to share what we do and kind of let people know what they're eating and where it's coming from, and whose hands are making that possible. Such a beautiful video. You guys did an excellent job. That was incredibly beautiful. I'm kind of a little moved about the things that we talk about, but that's the reality. So it's a beautiful reality that is happening, and I truly thank you for putting that video together.
Oh, well, my goodness, we thank you for being part of it, and just for your, you say in there that this is an open farm. We're an open farm, and that feeling of you and all of the people that you're working with on your farm are so open, and it just felt lovely just to be there. So I would love it. You started to talk about it in the video, just maybe as sort of a first opening question, if you could speak more to your model, everything from, the people that you work with, that are part of your community, as well as, even how you picked the varieties of strawberries that you have, how you picked the different varieties of flowers you have, all the way to getting them into the store. If you could just sort of speak to your model.
Sure. I think the model that I kind of came up with just by default is just when I started farming, and I saw so many difficult challenges to overcome to really make a farm successful. Facing the big companies and big growers out there, that it was kind of hard to break into farmers markets and grocery stores, and the brokers wouldn't even talk to you because you were just starting. So what I did is just I started kind of telling everybody what I was doing, and what my goal was, is just to make a sustainable family farm and make it accessible to them. And it turns out that people were really eager to come and visit farms and see where their food comes from. So I think that's one of the biggest components to my farm, really allowing people to see how we grow the strawberries, what it takes to produce those beautiful flowers. And when they do that, they kind of get what the real price is. And obviously, one is that having that my crew and my workers treated really well and pay them well, so they have a living wage versus just abusing and making use of their skills. I mean, for the ones that don't know, I mean, I was a farm worker myself, and I came from farming parents. So I've seen it all. I lived it. So it's just a lot of work, and sometimes financially it doesn't really pan out for most people. So I definitely don't want my workers to feel the same way that I felt was, a worker for a company.
Yeah. And can you speak to a bit of your journey, right? So starting to, you say you're coming from farming parents and you started growing. I remember reading about you starting to plant carrots, I think, and radishes at the age of 7, and then just your journey and how farming wasn't necessarily the direct path, but you came back to it. And speak a little bit.
So I was born and raised in Michoacan, Mexico, in Zamora, Michoacan. And when I attended middle school, I was part of a co-op where we had the actual school had some land available for the kids that wanted to participate and kind of like after hours do a extra curriculum. And back then you actually got to contribute a little bit of money, and at the end of the season you will get some money back. And that kind of like got my attention, and I started doing it. And obviously my father worked for an American company. This is 40 years ago. So I knew that farming was a beautiful thing. Probably not necessarily to make a lot of money, but it was very noble, and it fed us, and it gave us the opportunity to eat lots of beautiful things. So on a little bit of a piece of land that we had at home, I remember planting carrots and chard and radishes. To this day, one of my older brothers makes a lot of fun of me because he says that I'm probably not a good farmer because he remembers that I planted carrots and I ended up getting radishes. So he makes a lot of fun. It looked like so yeah. So really early on, I mean, I was 8, 9 years old, and I kind of knew what rainbow chard was like. I only God knew that 40 years later I'll be selling rainbow chard in America and producing berries. Yeah. So and then 20 years when I was 20, I had a sister and a brother in LA, and I came to America. And obviously in the LA area there wasn't any farming, so I just did what most immigrants would do, just start working in the restaurant industry, and kind of like did really well, climbed the ladder, started learning the language and understanding how America was made with different nationalities, and really getting the hang of things. And we did well until 2006, 2007, when we had the burst of the housing crisis. And I was one of those individuals that ended up losing our house and a couple of homes that we had as investments. And that's when we kind of like our life took a different turn. We ended up coming up north in the valley where my wife had some relatives, and I was 43, and instead of kind of like staying depressed and wanting to and killing myself, I ended up finishing my high school, and then from there I went to college, and the whole thing of farming families came alive. I mean, my farming roots came alive, and I started working the soil and trying to produce food. But in the valley, they didn't really have that. So I came to Santa Cruz, started working here for a fresh cut flower grower, and I started going to Cabrillo. And that's when the whole enchilada started.
Great. And so, so you've been where you are since 2012, right? In Royal Oaks. And is it true? And yeah, and you started with 1 acre and now you have 100 acres. How did you manifest that? You can change carrots to radishes and 1 acre to 100 acres.
You know, it's just incredible, and life has a lot of beautiful things for us. We just have to kind of fight for it and wait for it, and get up with a positive attitude and thinking that, you know, things will come your way again. So when I started going to Cabrillo, I learned about a non-profit, Alba, in Salinas, that, you know, they help you, they teach you how to grow organically, and then they have land available for you to kind of like start your own business. And that's how I started attending the PEPA program for a year. And then while I was there and I was going to Cabrillo, I found a trailer with 1.5 acres of land. And that's where the whole, you know, JSM Organic started. I had that little piece of land certified organic through CCOF. So 2012. And so from there on, you know, a year after, 2 acres and then 20 acres, and kept hiring to the point where we now farm over 120 acres. And we ended up last season having 62 people working. So I'm feeding thousands of people in our communities.
Beautiful. Wonderful. We had a question about what the PEPA program is. I don't know if you want to just.
Sure. So the PEPA program, so Alba, it's a nonprofit in Salinas that helps aspiring farmers to develop their skills to farm organically. And it's a program that it takes a year. And once you finish, if you have the skills, they take you into an incubator program that you could potentially stay there for 5 years. And they have technical assistance, they have equipment that you can lease, and you can lease land at a subsidized price. So they normally take anywhere from, actually I did a workshop for them last night. They had 56, so because they do things online as well right now. But it's normally about 30 people that go through that program every year. So on Alba, it's a place where, you know, you get, I mean, a lot of people, the nonprofits come in there and teach you things. And I mean, I'll give an example. Farm Link comes in, Farm Link from Santa Cruz, and they get you going with your finances, and then they can actually lend you some money to get your farm rolling. The NRCS and the USDA, they come in and they teach you about the programs that are available for farmers. The UC extensions, you know, they give you technical assistance, the RCDs. And so you get, everyone comes in there to provide education to the new farmers and kind of like advice on where the resources are available for you to succeed. So I really pay attention to all those details that will be very beneficial for me to be a successful farmer.
Beautiful. So it sounds like a lot of mentorship happening with Alba. And you mentioned in the video too that you like to mentor young people if they have any interest in farming. So would love to hear more about that. You know, or you have any mentors right now, or what does that look like for the mentoring that you're doing?
Absolutely, and I'm taking more, so there's no limit. I'm not gonna do it for you, but I will help you, and I'll tell you how to do it, and I will provide, you know, some resources that are available. These days, you know, more and more you see kids staying away from farming, and unfortunately, everyone wants to do either technology or or the ones that are not involved in technology, they want to do something else, like criminal justice or some stuff that, especially in my Hispanic community. But you still see a few kids that are interested in, getting their hands dirty and producing food. So, I mean, you guys and I know that if we don't bring new farmers on, pretty soon your food will be coming from other countries that only God knows what happens and what's in your food. So anytime that I see, a Cabrillo College student or Alba student or Harnell or even UC Davis or Santa Cruz kids or even Berkeley and Stanford, I mean, that they show interest, I immediately offer a little bit of a piece of land for them to start, kind of like developing their skills. So yes, right now I have at least 7 different farmers that I'm mentoring, and 4 of them, actually 5, already have their own business started. And we have James, we have Christina, we have Andrew, we have Don Juan, we have Victor, and then maybe Scott will come on board soon. So anytime that I see someone that shows interest, I'm definitely going to do my very best to make sure that the resources available for them to keep going and give it a try.
Beautiful. And so the acres or the land that you help them out with, is that part of the 120 that you're managing and tending?
Yeah, because so Christina has like 1.5 acres, and Don Juan has 2 acres. James has probably 3.5 acres. Gavino has 3 acres. And so what I want them to start their own business. They're not growing for me. They're growing for themselves. But if they need a hand to perhaps find a buyer, and then I'll help them out. I'm not a nonprofit, and I'm not a business. My business is not to have growers. We have the big companies that do that, and they do it well, and they do it, using a company, mentality. Here, what I want, my mentality is to help people that show interest in farming and producing food for themselves and to sell in the communities, to really support them that way, not to benefit from them at all. I'm a big believer of having lots of farms around communities where the food is needed. Nothing against the big companies. We need lots of food. There's just billions of people around the world that need to be fed, but we definitely need a lot more food where it's needed. And unfortunately, in our communities, we see more and more small farms disappearing because of the big corporate world that keeps merging and buying smaller farms. And then we, the older guys, retiring, and no new kids getting into this kind of business. So I think some of us, especially organic farmers, we have the mentality of a successor, whether it's our kids or somebody else in the community that could potentially take on the business.
Great. So I think I heard you say in the beginning that you have 7, but you're open, right? You're not full.
Absolutely.
So if there are any young people out there who want to start their farm and get their business started, they can come on down and visit you and see what it's like.
Maybe by the second week they'll go, no, I'm out of here.
What did Ann do?
You have to be able to get up really early, and you have to be able to, it depends, but
yeah,
at the beginning, you have to work 7 days a week, and it's not going to be sitting down like I am right now, in front of an iPhone or a laptop. It's more like out there, making sure that the plants are fed and they're water and that we weed them and all those good things. But I know there are a lot of people out there that really, really have in their soul to really get connected again with Mother Earth and water and sun and the outdoors. And it's beautiful. I mean, it just, to me, I think, working for the corporate world for many years in the restaurant industry, I was just like, oh God, I'm like fed up with this, and the big challenge that was presented in my life was for a really good benefit. I think, when it's really challenging, it's in front of you. I think as time goes by, you'll overcome those problems, and there's always a benefit to it.
Beautiful. So let's see. So I think another big piece that you mentioned in the video that I think all of us would love to know more about, and really, I mean, not unlike your mentoring of young people, is just this idea of plastics and getting plastics out of small farms, right? So you mentioned the biodegradable plastic sheeting because of all the people who don't like dirt on their strawberries. But and then the clamshells that we're all like, how many really, I don't know, interesting things can we try to do with these darned clamshells that we need to buy, because that's what our berries are in. So you could just sort of speak to where your interest came in with switching to the biodegradable, and who you're working with and how it's going.
Sure. So one of the biggest things in life for me, it's been that our natural resources are really precious, and we have to care for them. When I see the land that we're farming, we might be paying for it now, and we'll probably own it someday, but doesn't necessarily mean it's yours. It's here to stay for other generations. So we have to treat it in a way that we're not harming it, and that's why we're organic, we're certified organic, we don't use any pesticide, nor do we want to do that, or there's just the methods that my father had and many other people are using. And when you adhere to the organic standards, for the most part, because there's some things that are going on that might be a little shaky, I think we have to make sure that our soil stays in better quality than we found it, that we found it in when we started farming. So anytime that there's something new, I'm gonna jump on it. And in this case, the clamshell where your strawberries come in, it's been revolutionary for the industry, but it's plastic. And 3 years ago, I started using a biodegradable clamshell. I was very happy to have the honor of working with Sombrilo in Watsonville that developed a clamshell, and I started using it. So that's going really, really well. I mean, that's a clamshell that it's cardboard, and you can throw in your compost pile, and it will dissolve, and you can incorporate that. This year, we're actually we're actually already using a smaller clamshell for our raspberries, blackberries, and some of the small strawberries that we have. So kind of like I'm introducing the new raspberry, blackberry clamshell, biodegradable, beautiful. So that's that. I think our farm is probably going at least minimum 70% plastic free already. My goal is to be.
That's tremendous. Yeah.
Just incredible, and it takes a really good mentality, and it takes many people in the community to get involved, because it's more expensive. But where we sell our strawberries, our customer, our grocery stores, they share some of the cost, because they know that it's just not. I'm not the only one responsible for doing this. It takes community members to share some of the cost to make it happen. So, and then the other thing, so Sombrilo is a really good company here in Watsonville that has worked with me and has given me the opportunity to share some of these environmental changes that are actually are necessary for us to change our ways. even though they might be, 3 times more expensive than the plastic that we are currently using, or most people are currently using. But for future generations, this is the right thing to do. Yeah. And really happy. And the other thing, we're using biodegradable plastic. We're trying it out with the University of Washington. We're also with the University of California and the Marine Sanctuary. So we're doing all these new things to make sure that whatever we leave behind in the soil will not be harmful for generations, and we can keep and using the soil the right way. And other things like, I have some kids for the University of Delaware right now that are trying a Roomba. It's a UV light that goes over the canopy of the strawberries to mitigate some of the pests that we deal with instead of using pesticides and herbicides. And obviously, you guys probably know that I vacuum my strawberries twice a week. Just to,
I did not know that.
Yeah, you check out our JSM Organic Instagram page, and you will videos of how we vacuum our strawberries regularly.
Oh my goodness! So there's no dirt.
No. Yeah.
And so, Javier, is JSM Organics, are you the only ones sort of here in the Central Coast that are using the biodegradable clamshells?
So there are other farmers now that are using them again, that they started using them last year. And I think some of the big companies as well, they're finally going like, oh, we're going to have to spend a little more money to do this if we want to stay competitive, or if we want people's attention. Once, I did it because it's the right thing to do. Second, yes, it's a marketing tool, but it's definitely something that you guys are asking for. So, love what I do. I wouldn't do anything else. I mean, you see me. I look like a little olive color because all the sun. I do this not only for me, my family, and my workers, but I do it for the community. So you guys are fed healthy food, and you guys are the one that request this kind of thing. So we'll have to listen to you. I wish the politicians would listen to what people have to do, but
yes.
But
that would be great, right?
But yes, so anything that makes sense and we get people involved, and like I said, sharing some of the cost, I'm open to do it. I'm absolutely open to, make a big change. I mean, a while back, probably 3-4 years ago, they asked me to talk at Eco Farm, 2017, and I said something like, I don't need a Tesla or anything like that, because I'm not going to take that when I die. But actually, Tesla is making, a truck that could probably bring my strawberries to the co-op or buy right in San Francisco. That will be a very little footprint. So we might have to talk to these people and see if we can get our hands on one of them and send that truck to the city to bring the strawberries, instead of, having to use dinosaurs' skin to bring strawberries. So.
Yeah. So you're basically what we would call an early adopter, Javier, right? You have a vision, you're here, you're connected with the earth, and you're just like, oh, okay, great. It's the right thing to do. I'm going to try it. So you're a pathfinder in that way.
I'm connected to the dirt, and I try to innovate, but I definitely have my feet on the ground, and I don't think I live in la la land when I say, we should do these things, and this thing it would make a big difference. I'm actually one of those guys that likes gets done.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, and we should all be visiting your open farm, right, to just see the amazingness that you're doing there. It is quite spectacular. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's to me. Oh God, it's just such a beautiful feeling when I meet somebody at the farmer's market, and a beautiful couple, and they get married, and then she gets pregnant, And then she has little Lucas, and Lucas it's a year old, and they come to visit me at the farm. And he eats his first strawberry in his life.
Lucky.
I mean, and that, you know, your $1 million would not give you the same feeling that I get. I'm telling you, it's such a big, and so that kind of thing just makes me so happy, because it brings me back to, you know, when my father would come in, you know, after a long day and had some cantaloupes or some, you know, some fruits that were really tasty. So those memories are in your head. So I think in a way that when I see somebody enjoying something that we planted 4 or 5 months ago, and it's coming out of the ground and they get to eat it, God, it's just a beauty.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Well, so I think, I know for myself, I'm growing strawberries at my house, and I've heard there are some other strawberry enthusiasts participating today. So maybe you could just, raise your hand, give us a sign. So Jess, maybe you might want to share with us some of your, I don't want to maybe call them secrets, but your special touches or things that you use, because your strawberries really are, they really are, everyone, the most tasty and delicious strawberries I've ever had. And I will choose JSM hands down over anybody else in the market. So what you got? Is it just your magic again, or what sort of tips you have for some of us?
I think it's, there are many good strawberry growers out there.
Of course.
And better than me. You just gotten to them. What happens is that mainstream, you know, corporate strawberry world has taken lives. So you've forgotten what strawberry supposed to taste like, because you just don't get to taste them. So the number one thing that we do is I don't plant just one variety. That's boring.
Right.
You know, in one market you find those, you know, red, nicely shaped, couple of varieties, commercially grown, kind of tasteless sometimes. The only way to really get kind of like a different taste of strawberries is when you go to the farmer's market, because farmers normally do what I do. They keep them longer on the plant until they're harvested, so the sugar levels are better. But I plant probably, actually 7 different varieties, about 3 different types. So I plant from your normal Albion, Monterey, and Sweet Anne. They all have different tastes, different textures, different sizes, to your Chandler, Mar du Bois, Hood, and some of the varieties that are kind of, you know, they come from different states, and we plant them at different times and using different types of soils. So when you come to the farm or you buy some of my strawberries, you won't always get, you know, the big berries. We grow some of those big berries. I mean, you saw them, but we also grow smaller berries and very tiny little berries, and we grow different shapes, and they come in at different times. So you come and visit the farm, you'll get to taste this when we do the U-Pick at the end of this month, Saturday the 29th, or something like that. You will at least taste 4 different types of strawberries here out on our
4?
4, at least.
At
Yes.
least 4. Okay, awesome. Yeah.
At least. And then so we keep them longer on the vine or on the plant, and then we feed them differently. We wait for Mother Nature to kind of like say, you know, I don't take 3 days. It's going to take me 5 days for you to harvest. So we do that kind of thing. And then we do that because we are really lucky that we have the logistics worked out for you guys to get them in the city, or, you know, in Sacramento twice a week.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful. So diversity and patience, and letting mother do her thing.
Without a doubt, yes.
Beautiful. And so if anybody didn't catch that date, we just want to say it again, because I'm going to go. You'll see me with my daughters there on May 29th. JSM is having their very first strawberry U-Pick. So you can go to jsmorganics.com, Javier,
Yeah.
and sign up and register. here and really experience the open farm and the beauty that Javier has been speaking to today.
Yeah, absolutely. So this month we'll do it here. We'll do the strawberry you pick here, and probably in July we'll move to the other farm, which is just about a mile away.
Oh, fun.
And we'll do the raspberry, blackberry, blueberry picking, and then you have a lots of flowers and different things, and we also have my daughter making her a little bit of blend of different teas that she makes, and she makes little candles and things like that for her to sell. So, and then I'll invite somebody that does honey, my neighbor or something. So there's, when you come to the farm, what I want you to do, I want you to spend your money because we need it to pay our workers and pay the bills. But I want you to have that experience. And people that know me, my thing is not to get your money. My thing is to get you involved and get your feet on the ground and understand where your food comes from and who's producing your food, what's in your food that you are eating, the food that is going to make you healthy or it's probably going to ruin your life. You make the choice.
Yeah. Beautiful.
To experience that.
Yeah. Oh, so yes, I can't wait. Anyone around, come on down to our neck of the woods. So Javier, we're going to open it up to questions. I think there might be some questions in the chat already. If you have one, feel free to put them in here. Let's see. I'm just going to go, they're not going to be in order, but one person asked, you mentioned 7 different varieties that you use, but have you ever mixed types of strawberries?
Types, of course. Well, you mix them in the same clamshell, probably not, because people will be out of. Sometimes we've done types, meaning, so we normally have 3 types of strawberries, mainly that for some of you that might not know. We have varieties of strawberries that are one type, maybe they're called short day varieties. Those are grown in Southern California, Mexico, Florida, and some other parts of the world. Those are normally planted in summer, maybe like July and August, for winter production. So that's why you see strawberries like coming from Mexico and Florida and Southern California in January, February, and March. The ones that we plant in Watsonville are day neutral varieties. So day neutral varieties, they produce pretty much all the time, but they're really high producers. We plant them in November and they start producing in March and they go all the way to another November. So probably 8 months. So that's why Watsonville is the capital of the world. But those are like day neutral variety, day neutral types. And then you have a lot of varieties in there. Mm-hmm. And then you have the strawberries that are kind of like June bearing berry. Those are strawberries and varieties that are planted like in Washington State, Oregon, New York, where those, once springtime comes along, but they only produce for like 45 days, 60 days. So those are mainly the 3 types, but there is hundreds of varieties, right? So I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just planting strawberries that come in at different times and they taste different. I'll give you a good example. I mean, I plant a tiny little berry called Hood, like Mount Hood from Oregon. And there is a lady that went to the farmer's market in San Francisco at Fort Mason, where we do farmer's market on Sunday. And she said, Javier, I grew up in Oregon with my father and we had this tiny little strawberry Hood, but I haven't experienced that for a long, long time. And I was wondering if you can grow some of them. And I tried it. It's delicious. Oh, God. Tiny little berry. The flavor is incredible. So I grew that for her, like maybe 5 little rows. It's pretty good size. And that lady, you should have seen her face. I mean, she was just crying because she had not experienced feeling. So things like that makes me, do unique things and make somebody's life happy again and experience. She's like 70 years old.
Wow.
I mean, that's a good.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
yeah. And then my Mara Dubois, I had another customer that had tasted it, and he said, Javier, you gotta grow these strawberries that there's only one guy down south growing them, but I know you can grow them. So I started doing some research and I got the variety, and now this is the 4th year that we grow it, and it's a really big seller. Good Eggs has them, Buy Right has them in the city, and then if you come to the farm, you'll be able to pick them. You can eat us.
That sounds awesome. So we have a bunch of questions. I just want to, just because it sort of still speaks to this. Let's see, Liz Carlisle, sounds like you know Liz. Having worked with a couple different teams who have conducted research on your farm, I'm struck by how biodiverse it is, especially compared to the typical strawberry monoculture that predominates in the Salinas Valley. Could you speak a little bit about your role of flowers and other crops play in the ecological health of the farm?
Absolutely. Hi, Liz. I haven't seen you. So Liz is a professor at Stanford. I believe she's gone to Santa Barbara now. And her husband, her husband was managing, he's also a professor and was managing the farm at Stanford. And they've done a lot of research at my farm. And I think she's written a couple of things about the farm. In fact, I believe she had like a little pie chart that showed the diversity, not only in varieties, but types of different flowers and vegetables and strawberries that I grew. And it looked beautiful. You can see how different it is versus being a monoculture or, planting just a couple of things. I think for me, a lot of the things that I like to do is obviously treat the soil really well. And in order to do that, you have to plant things that belong to different families. If you're planting strawberries, you don't want to plant tomatoes after that. You definitely don't want to plant potatoes, and maybe some of the squashes are the same thing. So you'll ruin your strawberry soil if you keep planting the same families. In my case, after strawberries, I do broccoli or leeks or, something different, a different family. So, and the other thing that I do, I intercrop a lot. You'll find lettuce and flowers at the same time. And then you find the diversity around the farm that will mimic Mother Nature. When you do that, you actually deal with pests in a different way because it kind of balances things for your crops that you're growing. So you don't have to depend on any fumigants or sprays to keep your pest kind of away from that. And also internally down in the soil, what I just explained, it just keeps the fungi and the different issues that soil-borne diseases build up away from that. So, so I'm not a genius, but I've learned all these things from people like, Liz and other professionals, other smart people that, they're not probably physically doing all these things that I do, but they do a lot of research in labs, and then we figure out how to do things. So
beautiful. And then, and again, I'm going a little bit out of order, but everyone bear with me. So Monica has a question. What does organic mean to you? And do you think programs like USDA organic certification meet true sustainability efforts?
Brad, you're probably recording this and I'm limited on what I can say. What I can tell you that my father and I and many people out there were growing organically before the word was introduced to you guys. And we have to adhere to the rules because we have to have the seal and we have to be able to tell you and have the confidence of the buyer that do not know about us to buy our things. But unfortunately, the organic seal, it's being diluted, it's being changed. because you guys are allowing to do that, because with your money, you're not paying attention to what's going on and why these changes are happening. The changes happen because big money gets involved, and organic now is not the organic that was 45 years ago when Dale and Christine and Grant and all those hippies started it in Santa Cruz. Now it's more like, the names, the corporates out there that, they use the seal to say that it's healthy. If you really truly want organic food, get it from a small grower, a mid-sized grower that is adhering to the rules and is not violating any rules. And it's really open about their operation. One of the things that makes me really strong in my community is that. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't I allow you to come into my farm? One of the things that I don't want to be part of a corporation is because I'll probably have you sign 2-3 different forms for you to step your foot in my land. I mean, I'm not saying everybody is a good individual in life, but you have to be able to know what's going on. And unfortunately, you guys sometimes go by some labels that fair trade, and I don't know what. I can probably reinvent a new label and put my freaking cat on it and say that I love cat. So you have to educate yourself and you have to understand what's going on. And so I'm not a rebel, and I don't say, all these big corporations and all that, they're killing us. Well, they're getting bigger and bigger because you guys are allowing it to do it. Mm-hmm. You have the power, your money, you spend the money. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So you're getting a lot of yes, preach, go, tell it, Javier, in the chat, just in case you can't see it.
Well, I hope I don't hear and get run over by one of the big trucks.
Let's see. So let's see. There's someone, I had their name here. Tina Candelo. She says, "Hi, Javier. We were classmates at Delta College, horticulture. Glad to see you're doing so well. I teach horticulture at Delta now, and I'd love for you to come talk with my students. Would you be interested?"
Of course I would. Tina, I can see you. I remember when we met. So I remember I was saying after I got my GED and I started going to college in the Valley. So I went to San Joaquin Delta College with Mr. Toscano was the guy that was directing that. And Tina was a student, and she got together with her husband and had a little kid. And then I came this way, and she went to Chico State. I'm really happy, and I learned about this from Mr. T probably 2-3 years ago, that she came back after she finished her school, and she's leading the ag department at San Joaquin Delta College. So of course I would love to come and talk to you guys and see you. Yeah. So I love you guys. You guys started waking up my feelings about Mother Nature again.
Beautiful. She said, "Thanks, Javier." So you'll be in touch, I'm sure. And then there's a question. I don't see who it's from, but it's a statement and then a question. "So happy for your success with farming. Javier, you mentioned there are farms that don't make it. How have you avoided being one of the farms that didn't make it? And what have been the most challenging steps in your journey?"
Challenges. If I tell you all my challenges, I'll probably start crying because it was really hard. It was not easy. I'm telling you, it's so hard for somebody that is just beginning and doesn't have the support financially, might have the knowledge, but doesn't have the access to land, doesn't have the access to markets, does not have sometimes even the language barrier for my Hispanic kids. or my farm workers, it's really difficult, but it's not impossible. There are a lot of people out there that can help you, but there are a lot of challenges. Obviously, financially, for me, it was really hard. Getting land was hard, but I never said, "Oh, why am I not getting this?" I just always said, I'll find it, I'll figure it out, and we just keep going. And you got to be able to really tell your story to people on how buyers understand what you're trying to do. You start small and you keep growing, but you got to prove to people that what you're doing is real. You're not just like a startup and saying, I'm developing, I don't know what the heck, when I go to the moon and this is what I have, and I need investors to come in. There's people for that. In our business, it's reality. You see things right away. You see things within 60, 90 days, 120 days, maybe 5 months if you plant strawberries. But what we need is to really support people that are trying to make it a little more easier for new generations and new farms that need to have access to different things like I said, access to markets and a lot of other challenges that regulatory issues, because we have those up the ANAs. I mean, there's so many things that you have to comply with these days, so it's hard. But again, it takes community to get involved and support people.
Beautiful. Thank you, Javier. We're gonna just one more question. I think, let's see, Cynthia Fan has asked, have you considered forming a co-op to market your products together?
If there's any big whales with money out there, I don't want your money. I want in a way that can benefit many people. And in our community here, if you go to Sacramento, that region, we have Kepe Valley that they support me because I sell some of their strawberries to them, and then they bring them to the city. We don't have anything like this here in the, Watsonville, Salinas area. We had Alba, but unfortunately Alba is not marketing things for farmers anymore. We need someone that can say, what do you need? Again, don't give me any money. I don't want anything for free. And you guys, the people that know me, I work where we are and what we're doing. But I want you to be part of something that can make a difference. And what we need is to have a co-op around here that can help James, that can help Christina, that can help Don Juan, that can help Las Tres Marias, or, all those small little farmers that are producing, 5 cases of radishes or 10 cases of kales or 10 cases of strawberries that can be brought in to a place, a little hub that can be delivered to Good Eggs or somebody in the city that will pay okay money. We need that. We don't have it. Why don't we not have it? It's because nobody's taking the risk to do it. I'm feeling that if the right person comes along and we make it happen, I could contribute to that. I have the brains for it. I don't have the money. We have the customers out there that require or that want the product that these small growers are doing. So in other areas, don't kill me what I say, but it's a little more, it's not so brownish. There's co-ops that it's working out really well for them and people are buying from them. But right here, there's no single co-op. There's like buyers that will take those, 10, 15, 20 cases from Don Juan or Christina, but they're a third of what they would be getting if they took it to the customer directly themselves. So, of course, there is a change. It just takes the huevos for somebody to say, here, Let's do it. You have to do it in a right. There's steps that you need to take. And there are a lot of people out there professionally that know how to do it really well. But mechanically and how it would work, I can tell you because this is what I do. And there are a lot of people out there that are really smart. How do you think Good Eggs is so successful? Because they have the technology, they have the connections, and they have somebody out there that has the money that wants to bring you really good food that can be bought from somebody like me or somebody smaller, right? Mm-hmm. So it just takes community. It doesn't take a freaking politician to do this. Mm-hmm. It just takes somebody that has the, that it's eager or that wants to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And we can. Just takes a few of us. I can't do.
Yeah. Yeah. Elena says risk and togetherness mindset equals community success. Yeah, I think we should all talk about that. I think for this local community, and this could be a whole other talk, right? Or just gathering to really think about, so then we as the community members need to advocate for it and fund it and put out the need for it, right? To be able to support all of our local farmers and our locally grown food, right? To bring it more easily to our tables and to make it more, I know it's not about money, but more, profitable. I mean, that is the need, right? To feed our families and to feed our communities. So that's super surprising. Actually, I don't think I've ever realized that there isn't one here. So that's really great.
And this, so you're clear, this is the first time that I brought it up.
Oh yeah.
I just know there's a big need for that. Again, there are a lot of people out there that will take, my strawberries if I don't want to bring them to the city. But if I do that, Rick won't be making $20 an hour. Sergio would not be making 18. Cassandra in $21 an hour. Juan will not make his $16 an hour. We have to think of that. And if you get a co-op, it has to be profitable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of non-profits out there. Lots of them. And unfortunately, there's a lot of fighting for the money. If there's just one pie and there's just so many slices that you can cut the pie on, that you can distribute so many slices.
Yeah.
But if you wait for profit, again, I don't want it to do it on my name. It has to be a community thing.
Yeah.
You have to have the right leadership. You have to have the right rules and all these other things that I'm not really familiar with, but I see some people doing it somewhere else. There's people in New York doing it. There's people in Sacramento doing it. There's people in Massachusetts. There's people in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
If you form a co-op for small growers here, there's a lot of money that can be for profit.
Mm.
Lots of people that don't mind getting their hands dirty and actually getting the work done versus just sitting in front of the computer and creating a spreadsheet that, sometimes it's like la, like this. It's just simple.
Yeah.
If you go simple rules, they work well. I'm not reinventing the wheel. It's kind of like doing it old style, but it works.
Yeah, beautiful. So I know Marissa, you've had your hand up for a long time. You want to unmute yourself and have a word? Welcome.
I want to say thank you to both of you. I want to say I met Javier maybe 5 or 6 years ago at Eco Farm, and I asked him, I was doing tours, and I was like, okay, do you have animals at your farm? And he goes, no, I don't, because I was going to bring a group there. But then he said, come on out anyway. And I came the next day, and then he walked me down the road to see an animal sanctuary. He made it work. I remember saying, Javier, can you put some roosters there? Because people going on tours love to see animals. And he was so accommodating and he's so giving. And you could hear in this talk right away, yes, I'll talk here and I'll do that. And to spread the love, to spread your knowledge and your joy. It's always a pleasure to work with you, and really honored that you made time for us. And thank you so much too. And I'm sitting in my van, and I just came from Willow Rosenthal's farm in you might know him, Javier, her in Bodega. She's going to be our next speaker. And when you talk about getting up early, I was sleeping at 6:30. I heard her, I'm going to go milk the goats. And then I saw her making goat cheese this morning, and they're pigs and goats and flowers and fruit. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. So I am so blessed to get to spend time with people like Javier, like Willow Rosenthal. She'll be our next speaker in 2 months. So just a shout out to all of you, and people like Liz, who is doing the work that we all learn from. So just wanted to pipe up about that.
Thanks, Melissa. Thank you. So yes, so I think on the co-op, I think there's some of us in the chat that are like, hey, yeah, let's have a talk. So, I think we're gonna be connecting after this. So any of y'all are out there and you're interested, contact us. And it's a great conversation to have, and join me and Javier and our community and my 2 daughters on the 29th of May for the Strawberry U-Pick, which is gonna be lovely. And I think we're gonna wrap up unless there was any more questions. But just there's a lot of thank yous and woohoos in the chat, Javier. And I know I look forward to speaking with you more, and seeing what the future brings. You're doing amazing work in this world that we absolutely need.
Absolutely. So that it doesn't have to be like any special occasion. If you feel you have a day off and you feel like spending 2, 3, 4 hours with me, going around and hanging out, you don't bother me at all. I will continue doing my work that I need to do, and chances are your life and your perspective about your food will probably change.
Absolutely.
So we thank you so much for Marisa, for sharing the love, and Anne and Maya and all of you guys. Without a doubt, I'm doing what I'm doing. I've gone as far as I am because of that community, and because Alba, because of my workers, because of you connecting me with the people, and I truly thank you for that. And I think I'm really honored that you guys invited me to be part of this. Thank you so much.
And then real quick, Elena is here also, and she has her hand up, so I want to make sure she has a chance to throw in her beautiful perspective.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Javier, and you, Bay Area Green Tours, everybody, Maya, Elizabeth, Marisa, you, and beautiful experience for me to go to your farm, Javier. Muchas gracias. Un trabajo bellísimo, fue una experiencia extraordinaria, única, trabajar contigo. Me siento súper orgullosa como latina. I'm really proud of you, of your work, your mentorship, your willingness to provide this access to our community. And I am honored if we can be part of that co-op that you are thinking of. Muchas gracias, de verdad, un honor grandísimo.
Es un gran placer, y toda la comunidad allá que probablemente nada más habla español y eso. Tengo que hacerlo en inglés porque es la gran mayoría de gente, pero español, para mí no hay ningún color.
Right.
A la hora que tú quieras, estoy disponible para ti, y te encantará ver lo que estamos haciendo. I would just say, for me, I honestly don't see all different nationalities. We just have different genes, and we grew up in different environments, but we all poop, and we want you to be part of this, and we want you to be a community, be inclusive. And this is a place where we can all agree on, because we all eat, and I don't think it doesn't matter whether you are Democrat or Catholic or whatever your beliefs are, you will eat, and you will find this a common ground for everybody. So muchísimas gracias. Y aquí estamos, and I'm waiting to give my workers a little bit of yoga
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I'll do that. I'll be happy, honored to do that. And I just want you guys to know, if you ever want to do this bilingual, I am an interpreter and I can do the simultaneous interpretation while Javier is doing it in English. So anytime, so whatever it's, so it will be very useful for you guys to know that I can do that.
I would love to work with you more, Elena.
Thank you.
And Javier. Beautiful. So we're going to wrap up, and just so much gratitude for you, Javier. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everyone. And just want to also put in a plug. Maya Curry, she's our head videographer, and she has an event coming up with Stop Waste. They're having a live panel on May 27th from 6 to 7 p.m. Check out bayareagreentours.org to register. Every single thing that our video crew produces is stunning, and I know that this is going to be a fabulous event with Stop Waste. So check out our website and sign up as soon as possible, and come down to JSM Organics also at the end of the month. And again, we want to thank Beneficial State Bank and every single one of you who signed up and participated today. Thank you all.